Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Dr. Shealy, are you blessed?
I am blessed on this lovely foggy morning.
Yeah, we've got the same fog over here in our neck of the woods in Missouri. Yeah, hey, Dr. Shealy, I had a question for you. Well, actually, I wanted to talk about hot water heaters, part number 2, if that's okay. And here's what I found out. Last week we were talking about hot water heaters, and I described how we had a failure of a hot water heater started leaking, and it was a lifetime guarantee hot water heater, and it was sold to us by Lowe's, the home improvement type store, and they no longer offer them. And they cannot replace it with a lifetime hot water heater. And so the only thing they can do is offer us a hot water heater of lower warranty, lesser warranty. Or I talked to the store manager. I called and finally got a store manager in our neck of the woods. And he said, tell you what, you're absolutely right. The hot water heaters, we don't offer a comparable hot water heater. I'm paraphrasing. And we'll give you your money back. So Lowe's will give us our original purchase price back on a hot water heater. The only problem is the closest replacement that I can find to what we purchased originally, a Whirlpool lifetime hot water heater, is twice as expensive. That's the closest.
I knew exactly what you were going to say.
It's the taxes are twice the amount. The cost is twice the amount. So, and that's the least expensive one. But there really is
You're lucky you didn't get it 3 or 4 times.
And that's without installation. That's us driving. In order to get this thing, I'm going to have to drive about a 200-mile round trip. So I have to get the pickup truck and go up and get it. And I found one, and here's the really, really good news. You don't have to buy a Whirlpool hot water heater, Glass. You don't have to buy an A.O. Smith. You can switch brands right now, and you can get one that has a label on it, Westinghouse. Now, when you think of hot water heaters, you think of A.O. Smith, State, American, Whirlpool, years ago, General Electric, Hot Point. Well, now you can switch. And I suggest you look into this, to a Westinghouse hot water heater. And here's why. This hot water heater is made with a stainless steel tank. Not steel, glass lined. Nope. It's not a porcelain lined tank. It is a stainless steel tank. And at the website for this hot water heater, it says no anode needed. No anode needed. So they're not going to sacrifice aluminum in the water to lengthen the life expectancy of the hot water heater. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get one of those Westinghouse hot water heaters without an anode rod. And I'd like to share one other tidbit of news. We flushed this Whirlpool hot water heater. We have 2 of them. And we flushed, and one of them we flushed about 14 times. Literally, back flushed it, forward flushed it to get the junk out from this aluminum anode rod. And the last thing that I want to do is consume aluminum. So my question, Dr. Shealy, and this is for the entire class, and it's kind of a no-brainer. So if you had a choice of drinking a glass of water with aluminum in it from an anode from a hot water heater, or drinking a glass of water without that, what would you choose? It's as simple as that.
Oh boy, I'd like a distiller on the side.
Yeah. So I was chatting with John, our engineer, this morning, just as we were going into the broadcast, and I said, "Well, how about this? How about having like a salt shaker, but not salt in it, and when you have something to eat or drink, just shake that aluminum out of the salt shaker in there." And that's what we're doing. That is what we are doing. We are putting aluminum in our food. We are putting aluminum on our bodies when we bathe. And we don't get it all off. And just think about the open pores. And Dr. Shealy, I think this is a scandal. I think this is a huge scandal. I think there's been, yes.
My belief is, my observation is, that in general, I do not trust any industry, whether it's food, medical, pharmaceutical, government. All of them seem to have no ethics.
It's a very valid point, Dr. Shealy. As a matter of fact, if you want to see what this looks like, class, if you go to the drudgereport.com right now, you will see the headlines, and it says parties over. And what they're talking about is the White House party is over, and there are the staffers. There's an image of the staffers, and they're lined up. Looks like 3 or 4 deep. Between 3 and 4 deep. And these are the most glum-looking people that you could assemble. They've got not one smile, not one person to smile. They've got their arm, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them in the front row have their arms either their hands clasped or their arms crossed, and they're annoyed. They're annoyed that the party's over and they're being sent packing. Good riddance to them. And that's just one example of these are the people who've helped make our lives miserable. I hope they are blackballed from now on for all the things that they have done to us.
I'd prefer painting them in public square, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I guess we don't do that anymore.
Top.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there's a guy, the top guy. Some people have, if you read some of the comments on these internet posts, some people refer to them as the squatters. The squatters are leaving town. I think that's a pretty fair description. And so they're moving down the road, and they're living in near the White House in Washington, D.C. And the movers are moving the furniture in, but Barry and family are going to take a short vacation. I have never. Well, yes, I'm sure. But Dr. Shealy, have you ever moved from? Well, I know you don't move very often. But when you moved, did you ever say, I tell you what, listen, you all take care of this, and I'm going on vacation, and I'll be back, when everything's all settled? I don't know anybody who is not involved in his or her own move. Do you?
Well, I didn't until now.
Because, it's personal things. It's your clothing, your furniture, your possessions, and you in our case, we don't have movers. We do all that ourselves, and we just the family gets involved, and we just lift our furniture and carry it wherever it needs to go. We pack it ourselves. We unpack it ourselves. That way, things don't get lost. They don't get misplaced. All the boxes are labeled, and the damage is absolutely minimized because we know what's valuable to us, and we pack appropriately. But that's not the case with Barry and family, because they have hired people, or the corporation has hired people to move them, and they're not even going to be there. They're not even in sight. I can't imagine. It's foreign to me.
Well,
Dr. Shealy, we have
community organizer.
There you go. Tina in Missouri, welcome. You're on the air with Dr. Norm Shealy.
Good morning, Dr. Shealy. I have a question. My mom was diagnosed with neuropathy, and she goes to a specialist, and every time she goes, he ups her gabapentin. However, she said she doesn't really want to take all that he tells her to take because it makes her extremely sleepy. So I just wanted to get your view on that. And where it affects her most is her feet. She has like pins and needles, feels like pins and needles in her feet.
Well, I don't know what drug they've got her on, but it sounds horrible.
That's what I think.
The treatment of choice, in my opinion, is pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. It's a very safe electrical treatment. You could actually wear it. Well, if you weren't walking around, you could wear it all day. You can use it sitting. You can use it in bed, et cetera, et cetera. And it doesn't cure everybody with this kind of neuropathy, but it certainly helps at least 80% of them safely. No drug.
I see.
There's not a drug in the world that I think is good for neuropathy.
I see. So would she need to make an appointment at your office? Okay.
Be happy to see her. 351 5221. 417, of course.
Okay, perfect. Yep. All right, well, I'll give her that information and see where we can go, because she's been seeing the doctor for 6 or 8 months, and she's not getting any better.
Right. Well, in my experience, in general, we get some improvement right here in the office with the first treatment, which she can then continue using at home.
Okay. And can you tell me about the expense that it would cost if she were to take it home?
Yes. We charge $100 a month if you rent it, or it's $700 long term.
Tina, can you hold?
She owns it.
Would you like to hold on through the break, Tina?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. We'll be right back with Tina and Dr. Shealy. Dr. Norm Shealy's with us. Tina's calling in from Missouri. Tina, are you near Springfield, Missouri?
I'm a couple hours away. My mom lives down at the Lake of Ozarks, so it would probably be about an hour and a half for her.
Actually, it's not more than an hour to get right to Branson, so I whatever.
Okay, yeah. It's a pretty easy drive. Okay, so you said the phone number was 417 to make the appointment.
351.
Okay.
No, wait a minute.
417
351.
Right. 5221.
5221. Okay, and you said that if she rents the equipment, it's $100 a month. But if she buys it,
an initial visit, which is an hour long, is $225.
Okay.
If she takes the device home, it's $100 a month as long as she keeps it, or if she keeps it 7 months, she owns it.
Okay, perfect. And typically, around how many months does it usually take to help
2 to
someone?
3.
2 to 3.
And some
okay.
people need it long term, but 2 to 3 for everybody.
Sure. Okay. Well, to me, if you're already driving to Jefferson City to see a specialist and you're paying that money, plus the drugs they give you, and none of it's working, why not take a chance on this?
That's why we exist.
Yes, sir. I know.
I've been
take 5
working
years.
in the last 45 years. I've worked with 30,500 people, like your mother.
Yes. Okay. Well, I know I take your eugestrone and different vitamins and stuff, and I've been taking it for, 15 years, and you have awesome products. So that's why I always like to talk to you. All right. Well, thank you very much. You're welcome. Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Tina. Dr. Shealy, neuropathy. This is not uncommon, is it?
It is very common. The vast majority of people who have neuropathy do have an underlying diabetes or near diabetes. I was taught in medical school 61 plus years ago that diabetic neuropathy can begin up to 10 years before frank diabetes. So that predisposition, if you will, to developing diabetes can start the process of damaging the nerves. And I have found scores of people who've never had the diagnosis of diabetes or prediabetes, and that's because the average physician doesn't measure their hemoglobin A1C. They work just on a fasting blood sugar, which is totally inadequate for telling you whether or not you have near diabetes or diabetes.
And additionally, Dr. Shealy, my understanding is that neuropathy can be caused by a physical trauma.
Oh, yes. It can be caused by lack of B12, lack of folic acid, by trauma, by all kinds of drugs that interfere with everything. And chemotherapy, of course. Many, many patients who have chemotherapy for cancer, if they survive, develop neuropathy from the chemotherapy.
And so if neuropathy is caused by a toxic cause, like a drug that has been prescribed, can stopping that drug stop or slow down or cause to diminish neuropathy?
It can, definitely. And of course, in my opinion, if there are drugs involved, 90+% of the time you need to be weaned from them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And is there a general weaning protocol that you recommend for, the typical
Well,
drug?
it depends, of course, on whether you need a replacement. Let's say you're on an antihypertensive drug, which only works for 45% of people. Mm-hmm. And you've got a 55% chance of being on those drugs. They haven't even helped your hypertension, and they cause complications.
Let's talk about the protocol that you recommend for whichever type drugs that we want to wean ourselves off.
We start them on appropriate treatment.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back. Dr. Norman Shealy is with us. Class, if you'd like to get in touch with Dr. Shealy, you can email him, norm@normshealy.com, NORM at normshealy, SHEALY.com. And if you'd like to contact him at his office, 417-351-5221. 417-351-5221. Dr. Shealy, we were talking about or weaning protocols, getting off medication, and you had some caveats that you were sharing with us.
Right. You cut out, it depends on the drug, but it will take 2 to 4 weeks to wean you from most drugs safely. Because many drugs, you get a rebound either of the underlying problem, like if it's hypertension, your blood pressure might zoom up as you cut it out, or you get even seizures with some drugs if you draw them too fast. In fact, yesterday I had an email from someone wanting to know how he could get his wife off both tranquilizers and antidepressant drugs at the same time. I said, well, you're talking about at least a couple of months.
It's fascinating that you mentioned tranquilizers, Dr. Shealy. I haven't heard that term in years, maybe 10 to 20 years.
Well, they're among the most common of all drugs prescribed right after antidepressants are anti-anxiety drugs today. It started off with Valium. Actually, I guess the first one was really Thorazine. It was pretty bad. And then it went to Valium. And now it's some kind of benzodiazepine, a cousin of Valium. And they all suck, in my opinion, because although they may quiet down anxiety, they inevitably convert it to depression. Personally, I'd rather be anxious than depressed. It gives you more energy.
Dr. Shealy, Thorazine, is that something that was given to prisoners in prison to keep them from rioting and to keep them calmer?
Oh, yeah. And in fact, it was introduced into the mental, the mental harbingers, the places where people with mental diseases were kept locked up. And it's what led to putting them out on the street. So we now know that a majority of street people are people with mental illnesses who won't take their drugs when they get out of prison or out of wherever they got.
Yeah, and we used to have these mental hospitals, and they were large. I mean, many of them were very, very large campuses where a lot of people were housed. I know actually two people who used to work in a mental hospital, massive complex on the East Coast. And did we close those down, Dr. Shealy? Is that what we've done?
Yeah, almost. I don't know how many there are still open. A few of them were converted to drug withdrawal places and alcohol withdrawal places, but I think virtually all of them are closed today.
Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about, when I say a huge campus, I'm talking maybe 100 acres.
Yeah.
What used to be in the middle of nowhere, and a massive multi-story brick buildings. I mean, huge, with fences around them so that with entrances, with guard stations, if you will. So one way in, one way out. You weren't getting out of there easily. That's for darn sure. Dr. Shealy, edema. Every once in a while, as I read through the internet, an advertisement will come up, and they'll show this guy's legs, and they'll show where he removed his socks, and there is a significant difference where the elastic of the sock was compressing his calf, if you will, and then where the sock ended, and it shows a massive difference, and it says that this could be very, very dangerous if you have these symptoms. What is edema? What causes it? And what do we do?
Well, it's interesting. I saw a woman yesterday with exactly that problem. Her legs were conservatively twice normal size. And it's all fluid. It is caused by any number of things. It can be involved with kidney problems, liver problems, heart problems, or just poor circulation in general. But it's generally one or another of those things.
Okay, and I've seen people, like let's say at Jimmy's Egg, when we had our meetups there, and some of these ladies would have shoes on, and they would kind of slip-on shoes, and I'm not talking about flip-flops. I'm talking about shoes that cover the toes, and they would take their shoes off and flip them off, and I'm wondering, how did they ever get their foot in the shoe? Because the fluid buildup enlarged their foot that was not inside the shoe, or it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And then, of course, I wonder how they're going to get the shoe back on. How dangerous is this, Dr. Shealy?
Well, sooner or later, if it's not taken care of, they're going to, have serious complications up to losing a leg. That's how potentially serious it is. Mm-hmm. Because the circulation to that entire foot and leg is compromised.
Okay. Is this something that, what is typically done? Medically, what is done? Well, if you were to see someone with what I've described, the socks, with the elastic causing that part of the foot and ankle and calf to be smaller than the area that it's not held in by the sock or the shoe. What would you start looking at, and what kinds of procedures would you recommend?
Well, basically, most often a diuretic is, a drug that increases your urine output is prescribed. It may or may not help. In milder cases, it certainly does help. But in the severe cases, there are no drugs that really do the job well. Here's another place where pulsed electromagnetic field therapy may be beneficial because it improves circulation better than any drug that there is. And so that's at the top of my list of looking. But that's going to take it's going to take some time.
Dr. Shealy, the things that I'm hearing you recommend do not involve knives.
Well, in my opinion, in general, surgery is indicated in some acute illnesses and very rarely in chronic problems.
Mm-hmm.
It can be life-saving, a ruptured appendix, for instance, even appendicitis itself. That's a place for surgery. Today, now, in the last couple of years, they're giving people antibiotics for a month rather than surgery. Mm-hmm. Personally, I'd rather have the appendix removed and be done with it in a day or two, because the complications of taking antibiotics for a month are horrendous.
Well, why don't we talk about those complications, Dr. Shealy?
Well, the major complication is they clobber your immune system. In other words, they kill off not only whatever the organism is they try to get rid of, and if you've got bacterial meningitis, it's a good thing to have antibiotics. But they not only kill the microbe, if you will, that is being attacked, but they kill the normal bacteria in your intestines. And incidentally, the normal healthy bacteria represent more cells, many, many, many times the cells of our entire human body. In other words, we are a living petri dish. We've got all kinds of germs, bacteria living in our intestines and on our skin. And we're dependent upon them for life. Some of them help make B12, some of them help digestion. There are numerous good probiotics, if you will, and they are essentially they're often killed by antibiotics, and so you get diarrhea, you get cramping, or you get allergies to everything in the world. Sometimes after an intense bout of antibiotic treatment.
And as you say this, I'm thinking about most people would rather avoid going under the knife if they could, right? And your suggestions, for the most part, are to avoid that. You're talking about the electrical pulse therapy.
Right. When I was 9 years old, I fell between two boards out at a swimming pool, and the area where I got bruised got infected. So I had an abscess about as big as your hand. This was pre-antibiotics. So I was taken to the hospital. They lanced it, cut it open, and instead of sewing it back up, they packed it with gauze that had to be changed every day. And it took almost 3 months for my knee to heal, but I never had an antibiotic, and it had no negative after effects.
Well, that sounds great, but that's not what would happen today, would it?
No, I think it would inevitably. I would have been given antibiotics today, which may or may not have been useful.
And I know of a case, at least one case, where a young person had acne, and the doctor prescribed amoxicillin for like a year. Well,
that's a really bad one, because ordinarily it's tetracycline, which is somewhat better than amoxicillin for a year. But even so, personally, I cannot condone or recommend. antibiotic use chronically for acne.
And what's so bad about acne? Just don't we outgrow acne? I mean, lots of young people get it, and they end up later on without it, right?
99% of people grow up getting rid of it.
Yeah. Let's continue this discussion when we come back. Tastes changing. Class Dr. Norman Shealy is with us, and his website, normshealy.com. Dr. Shealy, I have noticed that people, as they've gotten older, have changed their taste in things that they prefer to eat. And I've even noticed that my tastes have changed. For example, if I'm in a store and they have like a supermarket and they have a packaged pizza, years ago I might have been inclined to, think about it. Now I don't think about it. I think my tastes have changed. Not that I don't like pizza. It's just that, it's got to be really darn good for me. Like an East Coast, like a New York style pizza, or I'm probably not interested. It has to have real cheese, and it's got to be quite excellent for me to be interested. And we had an experience where we were serving dinner, and I know the person who used to love certain things no longer likes them. Is that something that happens as we get older? Do our tastes change?
It is very common. If it's radical, it suggests that there's something wrong, like a B12 deficiency, a folic acid deficiency, even a B complex deficiency, zinc deficiency. All of those can contribute to taste problems. Maybe it's boredom. I don't know. People vary tremendously at all ages, but especially, I would say, not later than age 60, for most people, there are remarkable changes in many, many aspects of their life. Now, I'm one of the few people I know who I feel has changed relatively little over the years. My energy is just as good as it always was. I think my mind is at least as active as it always has been. My exercise is certainly more consistently excellent, but I've always been active. But part of these are basic personality, part of it is genetics, part of it is how well you eat and sleep, and all of these things add together to create the totality of health.
Well, I was also thinking about things that used to appeared to taste really good. Like, for example, a Coca-Cola. Or I have believe it or not, I have no interest in drinking a soda.
Well, now mine was Dr. Pepper growing up. And in 1970, when I discovered how bad sugar is, when I discovered how badly Harvard had lied about sugar, I stopped. And I can truthfully say I have no craving whatsoever for a Dr. Pepper today. In fact, the memory of the taste is slightly repulsive.
That's what I'm talking about,
Doctor. That's because I've turned off sugar. Now,
that's what I'm talking about.
Fruit, almost all sweet fruit, mangoes and tangerines and melons. I mean, I love those. But as something just plain old sugar, no.
Okay, so if a person goes to the Chinese factory outlet, I'm talking about Walmart, they have an aisle dedicated to multicolored beverages in 2-liter bottles and 6-packs and cases. And if you look at the most awful colored ones, well, I mean, the least appetizing, I'd have to say that they're in the brown category, like cola. And if you look at these clear bottles and you say, boy, doesn't that look appetizing? The answer to me is absolutely not. It's this brown liquid that does not, and I'm talking about Coke, Pepsi, Cola, Dr. Pepper. They don't look appetizing at all.
However, agree. I just didn't drink gasoline.
Hope in Pennsylvania. I see the call screen. No. Oh, she doesn't want to come on. Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Shealy and I will be right back after top of the hour news and commercial announcements. And I'd like to talk about asthma and brown recluse spider bites, diarrhea, constipation, because our cows have that. We've got 6 calves with what's called scours. And I think some of us have that too. We'll be right back after a few short minutes of commercial announcements with Dr. Norman Shealy. NormShealy.com. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. If you'd like to call us, 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. And if you'd like to listen 24/7 to this broadcast, 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. Dr. Shealy's with us, and Chris in North Carolina, welcome.
Good morning, sir. I have your phone number from my son, who had the pleasure to meet you and talk to you in Missouri at Survival Kit Expo or something. He told me that if I would like to live longer, I have to talk to you. I have type 2 diabetes. Yes, it's not. Yes, he told me that. He told me he was spoke very highly about you, and I have some type 2 diabetes. I'm still fighting for the last about 10 years. I quit all those medicine like metformin because of side effects. I have some problems with slightly overweight, but I can probably take care of it by myself. And cholesterol is not very important because nobody knows how good is cholesterol supposed to be. But very last few months, and I have very high blood pressure. It's around 200, 220 on 100, 120. And I don't want to take any medicine because of side effects. And somebody told me, and my son repeated that, there are some natural way to reduce high blood pressure. And he told me to call you. Can you help me?
Well, the number one recommendation is Kyani Nitro Extreme, Kyani NITROXTREME. It is 100% safe. I've used it in hundreds of people. It works well in 70% of people. No, nothing's 100%, but it doesn't harm anybody. And in your case, I literally would start with what I call one squirt. It's 15 drops. The dropper fills about a third. And you put it in the mouth, slosh it around, and swallow it twice a day. If that doesn't bring it down within 24 hours, I'd go to 2 squirts twice a day.
Okay.
If it doesn't work within a week, then it's probably not going to work. You're in the 70%. You're in the 30% group.
Okay.
But I definitely always try this because it's so simple. It's so safe. Now, the second thing to do, if that doesn't work, is then you need to take the following. The amino acid L-taurine, Taurine, 2,000 milligrams with each meal. Dr. Shealy's Essentials multivitamin, 1 twice a day. Dr. Shealy's Youth Formula, 2 twice a day. That combination works in 90% of people, but it's a lot more things to take. If those don't work, the only other option that is truly safe and works extremely well is something called autogenic training, or basic Schultz. It's a self-regulation mental exercise that's good for almost everything. And one or another of those will work in over 99.8% of people.
Okay.
Now, the Nitro Extreme, I'm going to give you a phone number. If you want to start with it, the easiest way is to phone for it because you have to order it from the company. But you can also get it at 855 329
Yes.
2124.
Okay.
And then they can tell you how to sign up for future, et cetera. But it's so safe. It is so much better.
Wonderful.
Chris, I can
Doctor,
Chris, I can
do
tell
you have office, I can come and talk to you or visit
Oh, yes,
you?
of course. Right here in Springfield, Missouri.
Springfield, Missouri. Do I have to make appointment so many weeks in advance?
Right. Yeah, you could call the office and make an appointment to see me, yes.
Okay.
Would you like that number?
Wonderful. Yes.
417-351-5221.
Once again, please.
417-351-5221.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And
Hey, thanks for calling, Chris.
You can always listen to this broadcast.
At
it's repeated.
605-477-3249 to listen to the broadcast.
If you want to listen to the broadcast, yes, 605-477-3249. And you'll hear this. You can go to gcnlive.com and click on USA Prepares and listen to us again. Or you can go to YouTube and type in USA Prepares and the date, and you'll find us. And you'll hear this broadcast, actually commercial free on YouTube and also on republicbroadcasting.org. So those are several ways. Yes.
Dr. Shealy told me a few names of medicine and how to use it, but I'm not good enough to write this down. So I don't know.
Let's Dr. Shealy, can we repeat this? L-taurine, 2,000 milligrams with each meal, correct?
Correct.
And then if you go to Dr. Shealy's website, which is normshealy.com, normshealy.com, you can then order Dr. Shealy's essential vitamins. And Dr. Shealy, what was the recommended dosage for that? That'd be 1 tablet twice a day of Dr. Shealy's essential vitamins. And then he also recommended his youth formula. Dr. Shealy, how often should he take that?
2 twice a day.
2 of them twice a day. And that's Dr. Shealy's youth formula. You can also get those at his website, normshealy.com. And then you talked about autogenic training, and that is a way of telling your body what to do. And there's information about that on Dr. Shealy's website as well.
And the first medicine which is good for 70%, it was the name starts from
Nitro Extreme, yes.
K-Y, it's spelled K-Y-A-N-I. Kyani, K-Y-A-N-I. Nitro, N-I-T-R-O. And then the second word is the letter X, T-R-E-M-E. Kyani Nitro Extreme. And Dr. Shealy, what was the dosage?
I call it a squirt. It's a dropper, and you just squeeze the bulb, and whatever comes up is about 15 drops. And you take that twice a day.
And this medicine I can buy also through your website, or?
Well, we're not allowed to sell it on the website. That's why I gave you the 855 329 2124. For that one, you'd have to phone. It's the same company, same office, but the company doesn't allow us to sell it on the website.
Okay.
And Chris, let me
No,
share something.
I would like to make appointment.
Okay.
Good. Well, then you call the 417-351-5221.
Okay. For appointment. Okay.
Chris, before you
Thank you
go,
very much.
I want to. Before you go, Chris, I'd like to share something with you.
Sure.
I have seen the Kyani Nitro Extreme in action. On multiple occasions, Dr. Shealy would come to one of our meetup groups where we'd have a restaurant full of people, absolutely packed. And people would come in with high blood pressure, and Dr. Shealy would take their blood pressure when they came in. They would wait their turn. He would take their blood pressure, talk to them for a couple minutes, and then he would offer them a trial of Kyani Nitro Extreme if they wanted it, and then he would take their blood pressure later. And about 70% would have dramatic, significant reduction in their blood pressure after taking the Kyani Nitro Extreme, because he would then check their blood pressure, a half hour later, 15 minutes later, or an hour later. And there was, Dr. Shealy, one lady came in with blood pressure maybe as high or higher than yours. I believe she was over 200 top number, over a 100 bottom number, and she was trying to determine whether she should go to the emergency room down the street or come to the restaurant and meet with Dr. Shealy. She decided to meet with Dr. Shealy. And Dr. Shealy, can you tell us what the results were?
Her blood pressure came down strikingly. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was she didn't need to go to the hospital at all.
Mm-hmm. And that was on a Friday night. And by Monday, Dr. Shealy, I believe you said that her blood pressure was in the normal range.
Yes, by Monday it was totally normal.
Miracle? Dr. Shealy, is magnesium has something to do with high blood pressure?
Oh, yes. All diseases have something to do with lack of magnesium. The best form of magnesium is lotion. Rub it on your skin. It's absorbed much better and has many more benefits than taking it by mouth.
Chris, would you mind holding on through this commercial break, because I have
Absolutely.
a feeling what Dr. Shealy is going to say next about magnesium lotion is something that you and as well as many others are going to want to hear. I use it as
Wonderful.
well.
I'm on the phone.
Dr. Shealy's with us, and Chris is calling in from North Carolina. Chris, you had a question about magnesium and its importance. Dr. Shealy, your thoughts?
Well, 80% of people are deficient. It is involved in 350 different enzymes throughout the body, so it can cause everything from depression to death. And I recommend that everybody take it by skin. We've done a great deal of work over the last 30-plus years on magnesium, and it is much better absorbed when you rub it on your skin than when you take it by mouth.
Okay. Now, having high blood pressure, do I have to avoid any type of food, any food? Particularly, danger for high blood pressure?
The main thing you need to avoid is excess salt. And I'm not saying you need to eat no salt, but you don't need to add a lot of salt to food. A maximum of a quarter of a teaspoon total in all of your food for 24
Hello?
Dr. Shealy, are you there? Okay.
We lost the doctor.
Okay. All right. Dr. Shealy has just dropped off, Chris, but stand by, and he'll be reconnecting. But here's what I do.
Okay.
The Kyani Nitro Extreme works for a lot of people, and I've seen that. So you've got the telephone number to call for that. And Dr. Shealy also makes a magnesium lotion, and he has tested magnesium that is consumed orally, like vitamins, versus putting it on your skin. And he has found that it's much more effective if you apply the magnesium to your skin. So he's developed something called Dr. Shealy's magnesium lotion. And what we do,
Okay.
believe it or not, for presents for family, we will buy that, and then we will make sure that our family members have that. And what you do is you just apply it to your skin. Dr. Shealy applies it to. Dr. Shealy will.
I'm back. I got cut off and call in again.
Yes, Dr. Shealy, I was telling Chris about your magnesium lotion and how we buy that for our family members, and you have found that it is more effective, more efficiently absorbed by the body than oral magnesium supplements, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he can get that at your website as well, and it's called Magnesium Lotion, and that's available
Wonderful.
at Norm Shealy, NormShealy.com.
Wonderful.
So,
except, so I have to avoid salt. Anything else I have to avoid?
Stress.
Lower. Oh, shoot. It will be something. Yeah, I have small business, and it's impossible would be live without stress. Doctor, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
I will make appointment probably within a couple of months when there won't be any snow on the road between Missouri and North Carolina.
Good thought. Thank you,
Chris. Would you do me a favor, a personal favor? After you have made your appointment with Dr. Norm Shealy, and after you've tried all of his recommendations, will you call in and let us know how well it worked for you, please?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good on you.
Absolutely.
Chris, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Dr. Shealy, we have Shirley in Iowa. Welcome, Shirley, and thank you so much for being patient.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I've been having, probably for about 3 weeks now, bad cramps and pains in the back of my legs and the calf area. And I've had a muscle cramp, 2 nights, I guess. 2 different nights I've had muscle cramps probably over the last month. But I get such bad pain in the back of my calves. And then also my right knee. It doesn't hurt all the time, but when I'm walking, all of a sudden it's just like it's giving out, and I get a real strong pain in it, and I can hardly make it back home when I'm walking.
Now, are you on any prescription medications?
Synthroid.
That's all. No antihypertensive or anything like that.
No. Mm-mm.
Good. My suspicion is you're severely deficient in magnesium.
Okay.
I would definitely recommend magnesium lotion. And in your case, I would rub it all up and down your calves and maybe up into your thighs.
Dr. Shealy's with us. Shirley in Iowa had a question about some leg and knee pain, and Dr. Shealy, you're telling her about magnesium lotion. Please continue.
Well, magnesium lotion is definitely the thing to try. It should help within a couple of days at the most. The knee may or may not be related to the same thing. It could be an osteoarthritis thing. If the magnesium lotion does not relieve it, and it relieves the leg pain or cramps, but not the knee pain, then I would add to that hyaluronic acid, HYALURONIC ACID, that you can buy as a liquid. Baxyl, BAXYL is the trade name that I know of. And maybe a tablespoon of that rubbed all over the knee is often helpful for osteoarthritic pain.
Okay. I don't think this is arthritic pain. It's just like my kneecap is slipping. And when I'm walking, all of a sudden I get a sharp pain in it. And then if I kind of massage it, it goes away type thing. But it's a real sharp pain. And I get it with a step. I might get it with 2 steps out of 5, and then it's gone.
Right. I suggest it's all related to the magnesium deficiency, because muscle and tendon spasms can be very much, affecting the knee.
Okay. Okay. What was that acid? How did you spell that again? HY?
hyaluronic, HYALURONIC.
Okay. And that's a liquid that you put over you rub over.
Yeah, you rub it on.
Okay. And the magnesium lotion, is that something, a certain brand?
Yeah, well, I'm the one who developed that, and you can get it from my website, normshealy.com.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll look into that and see if I can get some help with that, because I got these terrible cramps, and I don't know.
Yeah, I've had scores of people improve their cramps with magnesium lotion.
Good job. Okay. Okay, we're going to give that a try. I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you for calling, Shirley.
You're welcome.
George in Mississippi. You're on the air with Dr. Norm Shealy. Welcome.
Good morning. Dr. Shealy, I was wondering if you could tell me anything about GCMAF and if it's as good as they tout, and is there anything about it that you can tell us?
Well, that seems to be one of the products that the establishment does not like. Therefore, it's probably good. I don't know a lot about it. I know that it is an immune enhancer, and the fact that there have been a number of physicians who've had real major problems like being murdered about it makes me think it's better than we know.
Okay. So is there any place to get treatments in the United States, or do you know anything about that?
That I do not know. I would have to look it up on the internet and see. Generally, that kind of thing is, available on the internet. I just looked it up to see if I could quickly find some place that mentioned they do it, but it's not in the first page anyway.
George,
Okay.
are you trying to treat anything in specific?
Well, I have kids that they seem to get sick a lot, and I've seen a few things about it. I've heard about it, and I was wondering if it might be something that I could look into.
Well, it sounds to me as if your immune system is weak. When you say a lot of things happen, that to me suggests your immune system's not strong.
Okay, I was wondering if it might have been from vaccines that they received, that their immune system can be compromised. And
vaccines can do it. Antibiotics can do it. Heavy stress can do it. At the top of my list for people with immune weakness is, how much do you weigh?
Well, it's for my kids, not for me. I don't take any drugs or anything, so I'm pretty healthy.
Oh, I see.
But I have my 12-year-old daughter. She's somewhere around 110 pounds.
Oh, okay. I would give her vitamin D3, that is D as in David, 3, 50,000 units once a month. I would give her vitamin K2, 100 micrograms every day. I would give her 25 milligrams of B complex every day. That would be something similar to Dr. Shealy's Essentials, one a day. I would give her vitamin C, 1,000 milligrams a day. That is my basic immune-enhancing procedure for someone her size.
Okay. All right. And also, last month, I think y'all were talking about heart disease. And I had a friend that was a mortician, And he would tell me that he could tell if somebody was a heavy drinker, milk drinker, when he was embalming them, because the arteries were kind of hard and stuff. And he was telling me that milk has a reaction with chlorine, that if you add chlorine to milk, it would make it rock hard. And he was telling me that contributes to your arteries getting hard. Is there any truth to that?
He is absolutely right. Coronary artery disease and heart attack were a rare disease until government started chlorinating water. Anybody who lives in a city should definitely get rid of the chlorine in the water. It is a poison.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate all the info.
George, thanks so much for calling in.
Okay. Thank you.
Very interesting, Dr. Shealy, what you just reminded our class about chlorine in the water system and heart disease. And
I'm sorry?
It's very interesting what you said about chlorine and heart disease. And before the broadcast started, I was thinking about, in Springfield, Missouri, there is a huge building. It's a relatively new building, and it's a heart and vascular center. I think it's like 7 stories tall. It's a huge building just for heart diseases and circulatory diseases. So,
well, thanks to city utilities, they contribute to that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, I consider city utilities one of the great poisoning features of this entire area.
Mm-hmm. And we used to expose that until we were invited not to come back. Well, I was invited not to come back on the air talking about the poisons in the water. And after 7 months of giving out the city manager's phone number and name, that's all it took, 7 months of doing that. And I was invited not to broadcast any longer in the Springfield village. Dr. Shealy, brown recluse spiders. We have a friend, an instructor here at USA Prepares. He was on the air with us this week. And Roy Birdsong, he's the choose your own wireless telephone guy. He's got the store in Springfield, Missouri. And he's been to the expos, he's been to the meetups, and he was bitten by a brown recluse spider. And it took him down. It changed his life. And it was really, really tough. And he had a lot of treatments, weekly treatments at Cox Hospital to keep him alive. And so he's doing a lot better after months and months of this. Dr. Shealy, do you have any thoughts about what we should do? Do we use activated charcoal? What do we do immediately upon finding a venomous spider bite?
Well, I personally immediately put on it both a cortisone cream and then a triple antibiotic ointment.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had one in my sleep many years ago now. I awoke one morning with my left eye swollen shut and a fever blister. The first time I've had a fever blister since I was a young teenager. And I had an area, just outside the left eye, which was a deep, eroded pit. And it was obviously some kind of spider bite. I presumed it was brown recluse. So I treated it with just that cortisone cream followed by triple antibiotic, and it healed without difficulty. Now, I know that sometimes they can be infinitely more serious than that. And they're the nastiest spiders in our houses for sure. They're worse than black widows.
Obviously, we try to avoid them, and I wear leather gloves, and it's kind of funny if someone sees me out on the farm in the summertime, they'll see me with blue jeans, but my socks will be tight over my blue jeans at the end of the pant leg, so that these critters don't. Well, it makes it a little more difficult for them to crawl into my blue jeans. But
they need to be
Roy
recycled as quickly as possible.
And Roy Birdsong sure had a tough time with this brown recluse. When we come back, can we talk about constipation with us? You can go to his website, normshealy.com, normshealy.com, and you can sign up for his free newsletter, the same one that I get multiple times per week. Dr. Shealy, we had a call today about high blood pressure, and I've learned that high blood pressure and constipation sometimes go hand in hand. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, high blood pressure affects 40% of adult Americans and as much as 20% of teenagers. So it's exquisitely common. Constipation is much more common in women than in men. I would say at least 2 or 3 times as common in women as in men. But let's face it, overactivity of the automatic or so-called autonomic sympathetic nervous system is a contributor to all diseases. And so constipation is one where, the automatic nervous system is out of balance. It can be due to diet, not drinking enough water, not getting enough real food. People who don't eat real fruits and vegetables are much more prone to constipation. People who don't drink adequate water are much more prone to constipation. So everything is related to everything.
Okay. So what I did during the break is I looked up laxatives. And one of the ones that I found is Miralax, and Miralax. And I'm not advocating nor endorsing this. I'm just sharing my research. And one of the ingredients, the active ingredient in Miralax is polyethylene glycol 3350.
Oh, good. Is an antifreeze in your gas tank?
Well, so the question is, Dr. Shealy, I know, and they may be different, but I know that I've talked to veterinarians, and they are very concerned about cats and dogs drinking, dripped antifreeze. And right. Polyethylene glycol, isn't that very similar to antifreeze?
Sounds that way to me. Now, Please note they say, don't take it if you have nausea, vomiting, severe stomach pain, ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, kidney disease, or a sudden change in bowel habits that lasted 2 weeks or longer. Now, that last one almost certainly goes with people who are constipated sooner or later. Yeah, I don't like, fortunately, I'm knocking wood. I'm not a person who needs laxatives. But actually, in my opinion, milk of magnesia may be the simplest and safest. Arjucolax may be the best if you have to have a laxative.
Yeah, I whenever I hear that Dulcolax, the synonym colamite comes to mind.
Yes.
Because that seems to be the reaction, the combination of colon and dynamite. Dr. Shealy, what about just old-fashioned prune juice?
Well, there are many of them. There's magnesium chloride, magnesium citrate. Magnesium can be a laxative by mouth. Castor oil, of course, was very common back when I was growing up. To me, it's the greatest purge there ever was. I personally think grape juice, old-fashioned, regular old grape juice is good. I think that lots of water is good. I think grapefruit pectin is another excellent,
How about apple juice? How about apple juice?
Apple juice is wonderful, but not much as a laxative.
Okay. I wasn't sure if apple juice was a laxative or
No,
not.
it's a wonderful tasting, but it's not a laxative.
Okay. Grape juice. Okay. So there you go. Grape juice and castor oil. And how much castor oil should a person take?
None. I don't know. I can't imagine taking it, but I think it's at least a tablespoon.
Okay. Dr. Shealy, thanks so much for being with us. And let's share scalar energy next week, if that's okay with you.